This is a courier package, and because you're all clever people and you've read the description of the video, well, you already know what's in here. It's the new OSMO Mobile 4, and I'm going to open it up and have a look and see what's in the box and everything. But first, I want to show you a quick history of how we got to the point of having this awesome thing, because it's quite interesting. Stick around. Hey there, how's it going? Really good to see you again. Now, before I get into opening up the OSMO Mobile 4, just a quick reminder to click on all of these buttons and stuff down here because they're pretty awesome. And of course, if you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. I will get back to as many of them as I can. Okay, now before I open that up, I want to show you guys a few things that have happened over the last, 10 or something years, I don't know. Somebody can tell me how long it's been. About how we've gotten to the point of having these really awesome gimbals for our cameras and phones and things, and where all this came from and how it evolved. Because some time ago, most of us went out and got one of these. This here is the DJI Phantom drone. I'll just open the case up here. And a lot of us went and got one of these things because it was the new sexy thing. And we just loved pulling this drone out of its case because we could get this thing up into the air and get shots we'd never been able to get before. And it has this great gimbal on it, so these shots are really stable and they were always pointing to where we want them to. The remote control here we could use to frame this up perfectly, and this beautiful 4K camera and this really, really incredible active gimbal on it. And then we got this thing down to the ground and we realized, hey, you can let this thing land down here and keep it running, turn the props off, but it's still recording. And so then you could just, use this to get some other footage and then maybe turn the props back on again and have it take off back up into the air and do some really cool stuff. And people started doing things like you could have this come down and then pass it through a window of a building, go through, shoot some footage in a house, and then have it fly out the other window out the other side just by handing this off from a few people. And we realized we've got this really cool camera here on a gimbal. So then we just started making movies with this. It's a 4K camera, it's got a really good dynamic range on it. It does all sorts of things. You can get great filters for it and all of this sort of stuff. So we started using this instead of our other video cameras because, we had a gimbal. We didn't have to go out and pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for another camera on a gimbal when this is actually already a really good cinema quality camera, especially at the time. And we just went nuts. DJI sort of saw that everybody started doing this with their drones. I'll just put this one away again. And they thought, well, instead of having people wander around with this, they could come up with another product. And they did. They came up with this thing here, a much more portable and practical solution. You see, suddenly we could just unzip this case, open it up, and here we've got this great handheld gimbal, which we could unlock and point at whatever we wanted to, move it around, and it would stay incredibly stable. There's this great thing for putting your phone on the side, and all the software to control it and everything was on the phone, and this just did all of its stuff. You could hand this off to people as well. It couldn't fly up in the air, but it was a lot more practical on the ground. So this is the DJI OSMO 2. It's got a fantastic camera. It's 4K, shoots at a really good frame rate. You can put all your lenses and filters on here, and we started having an absolute ball with this. But the price point of these was still relatively high for what they were. They are very accessible. They're a lot lower than getting a big professional gimbal or something at the time, which was still tens of thousands of dollars. You were really looking at a Steadicam rig or something like that. But this thing really was starting to change the game in the terms of gimbals and something handheld and portable and accessible to people. Now, the filmmaking audience was kind of splitting in two ways here. You had your DSLR people and your video camera people who were just, getting things like I've got on the shelf here and this fella here. And they were looking for a more powerful gimbal for their DSLRs and things like that. Then you had people who were just trying to shoot films on their cell phone because cell phone cameras were starting to really get into the game and become much more viable. So DJI came out with a couple of other things. One was the OSMO Mobile, which you've all seen around. I've had the Mobile and the Mobile 2. I've had a couple of the Mobile 2s. I've actually since given those away to a couple of friends when I went and got the DJI OSMO Mobile 3. That's this thing here. As you can see, it's a much more portable case. Comes in this great package here, and it just flipped open, and there you go. You can put your phone into the clamp at the top and then balance it up a bit. Not a lot to do in this thing. It was really handy. And once your phone's in here, you can shoot portrait or landscape, but please never shoot tall screen video. It's just don't do that. And this is really handy and could fit in your pocket, kinda, and wander around and do all sorts of neat things. At the other end of the spectrum was this, the DJI Ronin. This is a Ronin S, and it's a bit more of a beast of a gimbal. If I just open the lid up here, you can see in here, and I'm not going to take this out at the moment because if you want to see, I've got other videos, but it's got the gimbal, it's got the handle extension, it's got the battery grip, a whole pile of tools in here with sleds and cables and batteries and things. It's a fantastic thing, and it really is a pro device, but the price point of this is out of the range for a lot of people. So of course they wanted something that was more pocketable, more feasible for people, had some great features, but you didn't need to have a big setup time. You didn't need to sit there and balance it and do all of these sorts of things and carry around a lot of gear like you do with the Ronin S. Now there's still a gap in the market here where you had your people with your cell phone, which was fine, or you had your people with these bigger gimbals here, which is a lot of setup time, to be honest, and you don't always want to do that. Great on a pro set and everything, but if you're just out and about with your mates and you want to get some footage on your skateboard or something, you don't want to mess around with your phone on the gimbal or something like that. DJI came up with this thing, which is the Osmo Pocket. Now this little camera is absolutely amazing. It just turns on and balances itself up. You don't have to do anything. That's the new camera off the Mavic drones and things like that, which fits onto here, and it is absolutely amazing. It shoots 4K at high frame rate. It's only a little tiny camera and lens on here, but for what it is, it does an amazing amount of stuff. It's got a little back screen so you can see what's happening. There are add-ons for it, like this little gimbal wheel here that can control the lens going up and down if you don't want to use the touchscreen, or there are phone attachments so you can keep your phone attached to the side of it and all sorts of stuff. This wireless dongle on the bottom of it so you can use it remotely. They've made it a really flexible device, but a lot of people still like using something like the mobile phone in a gimbal because, you know, why pay for a camera that I've already got somewhere else? So now they've brought out the new thing, the Osmo Mobile 4, which is very much like the Mobile 3, except it's got a couple of really cool new features. And finally, we get to the point where we can start slicing and dicing the plastic on the new package. I haven't even looked at this thing myself yet, so I'm quite keen to see what it can and can't do. Well, look, I don't need the knife, but I can do that. There we go. And just tip it out onto the desk here. And here we go. Packaging, as you'd expect from DJI, just a good quality box and everything. Shrunk wrapped. On the back here, it's got the basic features in it. The create magnetic moments is something that they're really pushing a lot. It's got a magnetic quick mount. It's foldable and portable. It's got Active Track 3 on it. Quick roll, I will work that one out in a wee bit. Gesture control. Now that's interesting because that's something that they've had in the drones, but I hadn't seen it on these things before. And a story mode, which is going to be interesting. I'm not sure what that's about at all. Camera specs obviously doesn't matter because that's based on your smartphone. Right, let's get this thing open and have a look and see what's in here. There we go. The slicing of the plastic. Okay, so I'll just open up the box here, if I can figure it out. Oh yep, that just opens up that way and rolls around. There we go. Couple of little instruction-y thingies in here. DJI Mimo app, which I've already got on my phone, of course. So this is a neat looking thing that that doesn't open up there. In the little box here we have got carry bag for it, a little strap handle as well. This is something I've read about, which is the mounting template, which goes on your phone and tells you how to line up the magnet thing here. And this is the magnetic mount which goes onto the phone, and this is what connects the phone to the gimbal itself. There's some more stuff in here. Oh yeah, extra 3M magnets and things like that, so if you want to move it from phone to phone you can. That's something I was reading about with the pre-release ones, is that once you put it on a phone it was stuck there and that was it, so it looks like they've remedied that. Oh, and a cleaning cloth to make sure that it does stick properly. There you go. And in here there's some more stuff. This is going to be the paperwork, safety guidelines. We've got in here the quick start guide, which is huge. This is a massive quick start guide. It looks like that's because of the number of languages that it's in, but it's actually only the first 4 or 5 pages at the front that matter. I think that's all that's in that first bit. And then we get into here and we have got the Osmo Mobile 4 itself. Now this does look pretty much the same as the Osmo Mobile 3. It's got the same sort of action. It's a lighter colour, not that that particularly matters. USB 3 on the side there for charging. It's got the zoom controls on the side here, and of course this magnetic head here. So that's just going to pop up, put your phone on there, turn it on, and Bob's your auntie. Does it have a charge in it out of the box? It certainly does. It's about half charged. Okay, no, that looks pretty cool anyway. Nice and straightforward, and something that we're going to be quite familiar with as well. Also in here is a mounting plate, and it's a riser pad for small phones, so that there can just clamp onto your phone and it'll be in the right place if you don't want to put the permanent sticky thing on it. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do that yet. And an extension handle. Now the extension handle is going to be very cool because you can screw that into the standard 1/4 inch thread on the bottom. Now that's going to let you stand the whole gimbal down on your desk if you want to, but also act as an extra handle length for more stability when you're moving this thing around and getting shots. Also you can get it up a bit higher and down a bit lower, I guess, all that sort of neat thing. And there's never any harm in having another little mobile tripod-y thing here. And of course USB-A to USB-C cable, that all fits nicely back into there. Righty-ho, so I suppose I better go and get my phone and hook it all up onto this thing and give it a go and see how well it works. Okay, I'll start by pulling out the hand grip extension stand thing and of course the gimbal itself, and I'll just screw this into the bottom of it and spread the legs out so that I can just sit it down here on the desk and move the box out of the way. Righty-ho, so I suppose I better go and get my phone and hook it all up onto this thing and give it a go and see how well it works. At first I don't think I need the riser pad, so I'm just going to use the stretchy mount. Now it's got a little dot on one end at the top of it, and I've got my iPhone here. I'm just going to stretch that out and put it there nice and even so it's in the middle of the phone. It says to go right in the center, pretty much dead in the center. For the gimbal itself, I'm just going to lift that up like that, snaps into place. In theory I can take the phone and line it up so that the dot on the top of here goes with the top of that thing, I guess. So okay, well that snaps on firmly. That's not gonna come off. That's a really good strong magnet. It's gonna stay there. You can see that straight away. Just pull that, and is it gonna go around? Like, it's got a little notch in it that makes sure you line it up. And down on here it's got the same sort of buttons and controls as the previous one, so I'll just push the power button on. It starts up and it lines up the phone. It powers up into vertical video mode by default for some unknown ungodly reason, but if I double click the mode button down on the control here, as you can see it goes into the correct mode, which actually works for people, YouTube, and the fact that we've got horizontal eyes. Okay, so that's all, looks like it's set up ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is, and now I'm just going to find the Mimo app, so just type MIMO, and there we go, DJI Mimo, and I'm going to tell it to connect to a device, pair it with it, go agree, activate your device when you connect to it for the first time to receive warranty. So just click on the next button, enable, let that log in and activate. All done, and there you go. Lots of instructions in here, you can read those yourself when you go get one of these things. And there we go, it's now installing a firmware update. I'll just turn that around so that you can see. These firmware updates on these things are always so exciting to watch. It's 50%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 98%, 99%, and there we go, it's done. Okay, at least you guys get the advantage of me editing that out. And I can click done, and there we go. It comes up with video. I'll just double tap that again so it goes widescreen, so it's like realistic and normal. And there we go, I've got my gimbal up and running, and let's just move it around a bit. Does what it's told, good follow, and that sort of thing. The great thing about these is that you get this gimbal technology, and it's a beautiful image based on your phone. If you want to upgrade your phone, you get your upgraded cameras and everything like that, but you've got this gimbal which is brilliant to start with. So what I'm going to do now is just head outside for a quick walk around and see how it works in the real world. And the gimbal seems to be pretty good. If you double tap the trigger, it centers it. Of course, if you triple tap it, it swaps to the selfie camera like I've got now. And so I'm just going to use this now, jump into these local veggie gardens we've got here, and see if I can get some decent B-roll. So there you have it, the Osmo Mobile 4, first time out of the box, first time outside in a bit of not so brilliant lighting conditions and everything, but that's okay. It held up, it worked well, it did its job, and I'm really happy with it. I'm going to go around and have a bit more of a play with this in the next few days and show you some of the more advanced features in it, like how the tracking works, which is a whole new tracking system apparently, so I'm looking forward to that, and any other features and bits and pieces that I find out in here. I certainly want to have a really good look at it, so I will bring back to you anything that I find. I hope this has been useful to you. If it has, don't forget to click down here and subscribe, and of course check out these two videos over here as well, because they're pretty awesome and they're going to help you out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.